Hello my dear students, I am Utpal Singh here with you with a new topic in English. Today we will talk about common errors committed by English learners. Here we will share some examples also. So let's begin. First we will talk about article confusion. In article confusion we sometimes use articles without any proper knowledge, and by mistake we write it wrong. So let's see the example. The people use a lot of credit cards. Here we don't have to use the, okay, because definite articles is not used when speaking generally. So what will be the right answer? Here it is, people use a lot of credit cards. So definite articles is not used when speaking generally. So if you are speaking about a specific people, like the people of the north, the people in the next room, the definite articles is necessary, then the definite articles is necessary. But if we are using plurals in English, then we don't use indefinite articles. Okay, and next is which and what confusion. So in this case what we do, which and what are not always interchangeable. We cannot always change which and what. Like a general rule is, if the choice is in front of you, you use which. So if we have choice, we can use which. So for example, I have two kinds of toys, one plastic and one fluffy. So here we use which one do you want. So here we use which. So if the choice is more abstract, we use what. Like what kind of toys do you like? Understood? Moving forward, modals with infinitives. So if we write I must to leave, it's getting late, it's wrong. What is right then? I must leave. We don't have to use to. So right will be I must leave, it's getting late. True modal auxiliaries like can, might, could, should, would and must never take infinitives. They use the root verb, no conjugation. So they take only the root verbs. Okay, then he said me hello. Here he said me hello is wrong. We should write he said hello or he said hello to me. It's right. So the object of the verb say is what is said, not the person is to said to. So many times it's not even necessary to indicate to whom it was said. So it's not necessary. Moving forward, tomorrow comes my friend. Here in this case what we do, we write or say tomorrow comes my friend. It's wrong, it's totally wrong. Right will be what? My friend will come tomorrow. This is the right sentence. So or we can use like that, my friend is coming tomorrow. It's right. Often when a student starts a sentence with a prepositional phrase or an adverb of time, the tendency is to follow that with a verb. An English sentence must start with a subject. So English sentence must start with a subject. Okay, so tomorrow is not a subject. Okay, so my friend will come tomorrow, it's the right sentence. Moving forward, the more big. Let's see the example. That house is the more big than that. If we write that house is more than big than that, it's wrong, it's totally wrong. So what will be the right sentence? Right sentence will be that house is bigger than that. It's the right sentence. So one must know about the comparatives and superlatives of the words, that whether we add or er or est or use more of most. But the is only used with an adjective. With est or ending word or most, for example the biggest, the most beautiful, we use the. Okay, moving forward, adverbs versus adjectives. So sometimes we are confused with many English speakers. Like English learners often mix up adverbs and adjective. in this case we are unable to distinguish between an adverb or an adjective. So well is an adverb. Sometimes people think it's like it's an adjective, but no, well is an adverb and good is an adjective. For example, you ran well and your run was good. This is the right sentence. Again, the taste was good and went well. So this is a correct sentence. Now talking about subject verb object, SVO. Subject verb object word order in English, unlike many other languages, the subject is always necessary and this order has to be followed. So we should follow this order of subject, then verb, then object. For example, Andy ate cereal. So Andy is a subject, ate is a verb, and cereal is an object. Okay, fine. Next is prepositions. These are difficult in every language because every language use them a bit differently. Like in English, in is used both for clause spaces and period of time. At is used for a specific time or place, and on is used to describe the surface something is on or a day. For example, in general we use at for a point, in for an enclosed space, and on for a surface. Like at, so in at to point, at the corner, at the bus stop, at the door, at the top of the page, likewise. Okay, so for examples of in, like in the garden, in London, in France, in a box, in my pocket, in my wallet, etc. Like examples of on, like on the wall, on the ceiling, on the door, on the cover, etc. Okay, moving forward, apostrophes. Sometimes we use apostrophes wrongly. Like apostrophes are used in contractions or to show possession. However, they are not used with possessive pronouns like his, her, or their. The most common error is to put apostrophes where apostrophe has no use. So if apostrophe has no use and we put there, so it's an error. When you form a plurals for nouns, there is no need to add an apostrophe. So like example, these are all wrong forms of plural nouns, like cats, dogs, lots, not even a word, ABCs. Okay, so plural forms in most cases are made by simply adding an s to the singular form, like cats, dogs, lots, ABCs. We don't have to put an apostrophe, even though the use of apostrophe before an s in pluralizing an acronym is quite universal. It is still incorrect. We use them, but it's incorrect. So and now capitalization. In English we capitalize I as a subject and everywhere it is used. First letter of a sentence, proper names, national nouns, and adjectives, day of weeks and months, we use capital letters. Okay, fine. Moving forward, ending sentences with prepositions. It has also become common to use prepositions inappropriately or to end phrase and questions with prepositions. Examples of some prepositions like at, of, with, in. So where is the movie theater at? If we are saying where is the movie theater at, it's wrong. So what will be the correct sentence? Correct sentence will be where is the movie theater. We don't have to use at. Okay, so when asking about the location of a place, at should not be used after where. If we used where, so there is no need of using at. Okay, so for those who don't know, prepositions are any words that a squirrel can run with a tree. Like example, the squirrel ran around by, through, up, down, around, etc. This is correct. Okay, so moving forward, different than the different from. Words like rather and faster are comparative adjectives and are used to show comparison with the preposition than. So greater than, like less than, faster than, rather than. The adjective different is used to draw distinctions. So when different is followed by a preposition, it should use with from, similar to, separate from, distinct from, or away from. For example, my living situation in New York was different from home. It's a correct sentence. Development is different in New York than in Los Angeles. So these are the examples of different. Now moving forward, gone and went. Both are past participles of the verb to go. These two, gone and went, are the past participles of the verb to go. But here correct sentence will be I should have gone somewhere. Okay, fine. So if we write I should have went somewhere, it's wrong. So correct sentence will be I should have gone somewhere. Next, who and whom. When considering whether to use who or whom, you have to rearrange the sentence in your head. Like general rule is subject starts sentences and objects end them. Like we know the general rule that subjects start sentences and objects ends them. Like who is a subjective or nominative pronoun along with he, she, it, we and they. It's used when the pronoun acts as the subject of a clause. When we use who, it is used when the pronoun acts as the subject of a clause, then we use who. Whom is an objection pronoun along with him, her, it, us and them. It's used when the pronoun acts as the object of a clause. So when we use whom we use when pronoun acts as the object of a clause. Using who or whom depends on whether you are referring to the subject or the object of a sentence. For example, who loves you? So here we use who. But you are loved by whom when we are referring to an object. So it's used, we use whom. Next, homonyms. Homographs or homophones. Like mostly confusions are caused by homonyms like accept or accept, tire, tire, see, she, write, write, here, here. Okay, so these are the some common words. Fewer versus less. So use fewer when discussing countable objects. We use fewer when discussing about the countable objects. For example, he ate fewer chocolates than the other guy, or fewer employees attended the meeting. When we use less, so we use less for intangible concepts like time. For example, I spent less than 1 hour finishing this report. So we use what? Less. Lie or lie versus lay. So in present tense we use lie, lay, or in past tense we use lay or laid. Okay, so lay is a what? Transitive verb. It requires a direct subject and one or more objects. Someone lays something somewhere, so it requires an direct subject and one or more objects. So its present tense is lay, like I lay the pencil on the table. Then its past tense will be what? Laid. Yesterday I laid the pencil on the table. So present tense is lay, past tense is laid. So lie is an intransitive verb. It needs no object. So in lie we use, it is an intransitive verb, so it needs no object. So its present tense, what will be its present tense? Lie. And is Mount lie between Chile and Argentina, and its past tense will be lay. The man lay waiting for an ambulance. The most common mistake occurs when the writer uses the past tense of the transitive lay. If we use past tense of transitive lay, It is laid, like example, I laid on the bed. When he see actually means the intransitive past tense of lie. I lay on the bed. So lie past tense is lay, but sometimes we use laid. So it's wrong. We should use I lay on the bed. Okay, moving forward. Irregular verbs. We can't list all the irregular verbs. Okay, it's very vast count of verbs, so irregular verbs, but we should be aware of that they do exist, like drive and eat also fall into the category of irregular verbs, because the list of irregular verbs is too extensive. You'll have to look into them individually, and now how to use them we should know. So I will be talking about some irregular verbs like be. So past simple of be will be was, were, and past participle will be when, like beat, beaten, become, became, become, began, begun, bite, bit, bitten, blow, blew, blown, likewise. Okay. Grow, grew, grown, hang, hung, hung, have, had, hear, heard, hide, hid, hidden, hit, hold, held, hurt, keep, kept. There are so many examples, you can see that. Okay. Now talk about anxious. Unless you are frightened, worried, scared of them, you shouldn't say you are anxious to see your friends. So if you are frightened, worried, and scared, so you can write anxious. But if you are not, then you should you shouldn't use anxious. You are actually eager or excited. So use eager or excited, not anxious. To be anxious implies a looming fear. So if you are in fear, dread, or in any anxiety, then you can use anxious. It doesn't mean you are looking forward to something. So we use anxious when we are frightened or we are worried. Okay. Then next is continual and continuous. They are similar. They are somewhat similar, but there is a difference. Okay. Continual means what? Continual means something that always occurring. That is always occurring with obvious lapses in time. With lapse of time, these are continuously happening, occurring. Okay. So we use continual. But continuous means something continues without any stops or gaps in between. So if we have no gaps, or we don't have any stops, then we use continuous. If there is some lapse of time, there is some gap, we use continual. For example, the continual music next door made it worst night of the studying ever. So in this case, music is stopping time to time, but it's not continuous, so we use continual. The continual music next door made it the worst night of the studying ever. Okay, the next sentence is her continuous talking prevented him from concentrating. So she was talking continuously, she is not stopping, she is not giving any gap, so we use continuous, like her continuous talking prevented him from concentrating. Now next is not versus or. Not expresses what? A negative condition. It literally means and not. You are obligated to use the not form if your sentence expresses a negative and follows it with another negative condition. Like we use not before the second or further of two alternatives. Like when neither introduces the first. If neither is there, we use not after neither. Think of it as or for negative sentences. It's simply or, but for negative sentences, and it's not optional. We should use not for negative sentences. For example, neither my boss nor I understand the new program. Second example, my boss didn't understand the program, nor did I. So we use a not for negative sentences which expresses a negative thing. Okay, so now it's versus its, apostrophe its. Okay, so in simple it's is a possessive pronoun. For example, the puppy is going to find its toy, so it's a possessive pronoun. So it's, when we use it's with apostrophe s, it shows the contraction of it is. It's not it is, it is, but we use contraction and we use apostrophe s for this. Okay, for example, it is so hot in July, so it's so hot in July, so apostrophe s means it is. Like you can find it easy if you have the reminder, like you can replace it is with its every time and read your sentence for meaning. Moving forward, disinterested and uninterested. So a disinterested person is someone who is impartial. Like disinterested means impartial or not taking sides. Okay, in other words, not having a personal interest at stake. Uninterested means not interested. Okay, in other words, not showing any interest. Okay, so correct sentence will be, a good referee should be disinterested. Like what it means, he does not take sides. Okay, so let's see another sentence. He was disinterested in Jill's hobby. So here it is wrong because we cannot use disinterested. We should use he was uninterested in Jill's hobby, since it shows that he shows no interest. So he was uninterested in Jill's hobby, not disinterested. Next is farther and further. So the word farther implies a measurable distance. Farther means a measurable distance. We can measure the distance is farther. Farther used when we can use measure the distance. And further should be reserved for abstract lengths you cannot always measure. So if we can't measure, we use further, and if we can measure the sentence distance, so we can use we have to use further. Okay, for example, I threw the ball 10 feet farther than Bill. So we use further because we can measure the distance. So next is, the financial crisis caused further implications. So in this sentence we are unable to measure. Okay, so next is envy and jealousy. The word envy implies a longing for someone else's good fortunes. Envy implies for longings for someone else's good fortunes. But jealousy is far more nefarious. It's a fear or rivalry. So if you use jealousy, everyone will think it's a fear or rivalry. But if you use word envy, people will think it in a positive manner. For example, envy is when you covet your friend's good looks. Okay, so if you are saying envy, then you are making a covet for your friend's good looks or anything. But jealousy is what happens when others go mad over your good looking friend. If you are good looking and someone is getting mad, then it's a jealousy. But if you are not, if you are complimenting, then it's envy. Next is since and because. Since refers to time, but because refers to causation. For example, since I quit drinking, I have been happy and healthy. Another example, because I quit drinking, I no longer have any liver problem. So these are the difference. Moving forward, whether and if. Many people seem to assume that whether is interchangeable with if, but it's not. Whether expresses a condition where there are two or more alternatives, and if expresses a condition where there is no alternative, there are no alternative, then if is used. For example, I don't know whether I will go out tonight, so we use whether. I can go out tonight if I have any money. So for condition we use if. But to express a condition where there are two or more alternatives, then we can use whether, like I don't know whether I will go out tonight. Okay, next is may and might. What is may? May implies a possibility. May implies a possibility, and might implies far more uncertainty. So for uncertainty we use might, and for possibility we use may. For example, you may get a headache if you stay out in cold. It's a possibility. But in next sentence, you might get a headache if you don't cover yourself. Someone who says I may have some more cookies could mean he or she does not want more cookies right now, or that he or she might not want at all. So might is used for uncertainty and may is used for possibility. Next is lose versus lose. Loss. Loss, a verb to be without something. The loss of something is lose. If we do not wish to lose more weight, lose. And lose. Lose is an adjective. Free or released from attachment, not bound together, not strict. For example, my belt is very loose around my waist. Easy reminder, loose has come to be without its extra o. So in saying lose, we a small amount of time is taking, and for saying lose we take more time. Okay, fine. Next is me versus I. Rules to remember: I is subject and me is an object. So we use pronoun I along with other subjective pronouns such as we, he, she, you and they when the pronoun is the subject of the verb. Claire and I are going for a coffee. So use the pronoun me along with other objective pronouns such as us, him, her, you and them when the pronoun is the object of a verb. Like example, the dog followed John and me to the door. Okay, moving forward. Affect and affect. Affect, noun. Effect is a noun produced by a cause or a result. The effect of your leadership is visual here. And affect is a verb to act on, to produce a chance. She affected all of us with her. Affect is thing produced by the affecting agent. So affect is a thing, it's a noun, and affect is a verb. Okay, next is whose and who is. Whose is a possessive form of who, like whose plans are these, and who is a contraction of who is. When we write who apostrophe s, it's a contraction of who is. So who is going to clean all this mess is an example. You can remind yourself by, you can replace who is with who in every time and see if it makes sense. So guys, we stop here. So if you like my video, you can like, share, comment your views. If you have any doubt, you can comment in the comment section, and kindly subscribe to my channel so that you can get videos in your inbox directly. Okay, so thank you for now.